If you're into Game Boy, there's a good chance you'll like my new Neo Geo Pocket Color series too. Every Thursday I'm reviewing a new Neo Geo game. Just join the PO3 Patreon or become a channel member here on YouTube. Before Michael Schumacher made the Ferrari F1 team one of the most successful in Formula 1 history, they were always a little in the shadow of British giants Williams and McLaren. In 1992, it had been 10 years since they'd had a Constructors' title win, and it would be yet another 7. Despite that, the name Ferrari is and was quintessential with motor racing, and generally all things fast and expensive, so it was probably the right brand to go with on a semi-licensed racing game. I say semi-licensed, the only official team is Ferrari obviously, and the driver names don't reflect the roster of the time. The tracks are all there though, not given by circuit name, but country, and they are accurate enough, at least on the map screen, following the 1991 season to a certain extent. I didn't notice any times where the actual circuit didn't follow the satellite one, at least roughly, so at least the corners are in the right order. You really have to pay attention to the chevrons on the side of the road though, as the draw distance here isn't amazing. An arrow or some other visual cue popping up in the top center would have been useful. Each track has its own scrolling background based on the country it's in. Brazil has the famous Christ the Redeemer statue, despite the fact that Interlagos isn't anywhere near Rio, and the US track being based on the Phoenix street circuit, but clearly having a Manhattan skyline. But then we can't expect 100% realism, I suppose. The backgrounds look alright and lend distinction to what are otherwise identical looking raceways, so it's nice to have them. There's no up and down on the tracks, as in F1 race they're all on a flat plane, but the width of the road in comparison to the cars is spot on, leaving plenty of room for overtaking maneuvers. All the corners seem to be the same angle of acuteness unfortunately, and it's one of those racing games where you never really have to brake. Easing off the accelerator is pretty much always enough to get you round a corner, but even so, there's still a certain delicateness to it. Because you are faster than the other cars, you'll always have plenty of time to catch up to them on the 3 laps. The reason you might not succeed is because not getting this balance between accelerating and pulling back a little can cause crashes or veering off the road. It's often better when coming up on another car or two to sit behind them until a straight section. Overtaking on corners isn't always the easiest. It's up to you how brave you want to be. It seems that there are never more than you and 2 other cars on screen at any one time, but 2 is enough to block you off. This only really happens on the later laps when you're coming round and lapping back markers, as they tend to drive slower than the racers you're jostling for position with. Still, it's a real pain in the arse when they don't get out of your way, and you end up ramming them from behind. You have a qualifying time to beat, fail, and you have to sit out the following race. Each race is over 3 laps, and as you get further and further up the field, you'll overtake more and more back markers. There are no tweaks or settings you can make before racing. The only control option you have is manual or automatic transmission. Manual is harder, but you do get a good 10 km/h maximum speed boost if you take this option. If you can avoid crashing and flying off at corners, you won't need it though. The game probably needed more variation to make it truly interesting. The tracks play out largely the same way and look identical except for the skylines. Weather changes, tire and downforce settings, that sort of thing would all have contributed to make this one stand out a bit better, all things that had been in games before now. No complaints really with the actual racing, it's a little repetitive but it works well enough. The camera moves smoothly, no lag or stuttering, and the controls are responsive and quite smooth. There were almost enough F1 games on Game Boy to make an entire grid lineup. I need to rank them at some point. This one is somewhere in the middle of the pack, not precisely making up the numbers, but certainly not troubling the podium places.